I was just talking to one of my friends tonight, and we always wind up having deep conversations. And I was telling him for the last week and a half, I just been feeling down and depressed. My energy been low. I've been feeling overstressed. And he told me that he's been feeling the same way too. And we was talking about God because he's a religious person. And I was basically telling him that I feel like that I know that I have a very important purpose in my life, that I have a very deep, great, important purpose to fulfill. But the way that I am as a person, it stops me from fulfilling my purpose because of the way that I am genuinely as a person. Not because of the choices that I made, but the way, and when as I was talking about him, I was also thinking, like, we got a lot of people that is on this earth that has important purposes. And the way that they are, the way they were born, the way they were molded, the way that they think, it's like that we were designed to not be able to fulfill our purpose. Because the greatest war that you have in life is the war with yourself. You know, even though we see the world and we see what's going on with the world, but the greatest war that we have is the war that we have within ourselves, because we are a soul and a spirit that is basically fighting with the flesh. Because you know the flesh is made of this earth. We live in an earthly body. So this earth is basically dense like our bodies. Our flesh is dense like the earth because we were made from the earth. But our souls is greater. Our souls are godly. You know, our souls is high energy. So it's basically a war every day that we have to fight with our souls against our flesh. And the fact that sometimes we feed into our flesh and the way that we are as people, you know, our choices that we make and the way that we think, the way that we were raised, our history, it's like we make certain choices and we be in situations that cause us to think total opposite. Because for an example, now that you're in your 20s, when you get in your 30s, you're gonna wish that you could have went back and thought differently because you have grown. And then when you're in your 40s, you are going to think back to when you was in your 20s, and you're like, you know what, if I was in that same situation right now, I wouldn't have made that decision. And each decision that we make is going to impact us in the future, even though we don't know that. You know, because when we become 18 and when we get in our 20s, a lot of us just like to party and want to have fun and stuff like that. And then when we get in our early 30s, middle 30s, that's when we kind of settle down. And then when you get in your 40s, it's like, damn, what did I do in my 20s? Because it's like every day we make choices. And the choices that we make, we don't think about the future. We just think in the moment. And the feelings and the emotions that we had in that moment and what we was going through in that moment basically impacted our decisions and our choice makings. And I was telling him, it's like ever since I turned 40, I just been feeling some type of way. And I thought that when I turned 40 years old that I was going to be all happy. But it's like, you know, I have been through so much. I have seen so much. You know, I have witnessed and heard so much, and I have accomplished so much. But now that I'm in my 40s, I feel like I didn't do enough. And it's like the feeling is coming down on me so strong until I'm feeling pissed off. I'm feeling upset. It's almost like I'm going through like a midlife crisis. And he was telling me that he feels the same way. And I know that right now, this is just a phase that I'm going through. And the reason why that I feel this way is because I have gifts. I have talents. And I feel like that I should have took advantage of those gifts and talents. But the decisions that I made in my early years, Even though, don't get me wrong, I live a beautiful life. You know, I have everything that I want. But like I said, it's my ego is basically fighting my soul, because my soul feels fulfilled. My soul feels wonderful, but my ego, my earthly body, my ego wants more. And the fact that my ego is fighting this war with my soul, it is drowning me, because it's a drowning situation. And this is why a lot of people suffer from depression. They tell us that we are depressed because of what the world is. But when you get depressed, you don't get depressed because of what's going on in life and what's going on in your life or in the world. You get depressed because your soul is fighting up against your flesh every day until it wears you down. And then sometimes you feel like you can't win, because your soul is at war every day with your ego. Your soul is at war every day with your flesh. And then sometimes you get tired of fighting. And the reason why you get tired of fighting, because even though your soul is fighting the war with your flesh, you got the world around you that's feeding your ego. You got the world around you that's basically showing your ego everything that it needs and wants. But your soul is totally against the ego. Your soul is totally against worldly things. And it's like, you know, it's nothing feeding your soul, but everything is feeding your ego. You got fornication. You got celebrities. You got riches. You got fame. You got materialistic things. You got all of these things that is feeding your ego, that is feeding your earthly, worldly body. But your soul don't need the material things. It don't need fornication. It don't need fame and fortune and money. But it's nothing feeding your soul. The only thing that is going to be able to feed your soul is our Creator. And a lot of us, honestly, don't know nothing about our Creator. We don't know how to get saved. We don't know how to repent. We don't know how to do that. Half of us don't even know how to talk to God, because we have been trained to talk to Him a certain way until we don't need. A lot of people don't even talk to Him. And I wanted to relay this message because even though I'm not a Christian, I'm not a religious woman. I am more of a spiritual woman. Even though I talk the way that I talk, I still go through emotions too. I still feel down. So I don't want people to think that I'm perfect or none of this. Because like I said, I'm a sinner. I'm not perfect by no means. But it's just that, you know, I just been feeling so down lately. And I know that it's not me. I know that it's my ego that is fighting up. And for some reason, my ego is fighting with me harder. Because I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's these times, but my ego is really fighting with me, and it gets tiring and it gets draining, because you know you get tired of fighting, and I believe that's what causes depression. That's why even though I know that I can get deeply depressed, I refuse to take medication. I don't want no man-made medications in me, because they're going to tell y'all that it's mental illness, it's depression, it's bipolar, it's that. But it's not that. Your spirit is basically fighting a war every single day. Your spirit is fighting a war. Your soul is fighting a war with the ego every single day. And you get tired and it wears you down. And by you already going through other things in your life, you know, that could be going on. And then you got to look at the world, how it's crumbling up. It can put a toll on you. So I just wanted to vent. And I should have basically took a Tylenol or something before I left the house, because now I'm getting a headache. I just been feeling like shit lately. But I know it's going to pass. It's going to pass. It's going to pass.